Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of The Cody Miller Show. Happy Monday morning. Thank you for joining me today as we talk about all things floating through the world of swimming and some other fun stuff as well. And before we get into our main topics of the day, how do I select the main topics of this show? It's really simple. You, the audience, create the topics. You, the audience, whenever you come up across a topic, subject, question, something that you want me to talk about, something you want me to cover on this show, simply fire me an email to codymillershow@gmail.com. codymillershow@gmail.com, and you might see your question answered here as a main topic. It's totally free, and I enjoy reading all the emails, as many as I can. A little tip, try to keep them relatively small, because as you'll see, I like to throw up the title card on the screen so you can read along. And if they're too long, I can't even really fit them on there, so just a little tip. It's been a wild week. Lots of swimming, lots of traveling, lots going on around the house. We'll get into that stuff later, but let's go ahead and dive into our first main topic of the day, shall we? So, our first main topic of the day comes to us from Philip from Connecticut. And Philip writes, "Good day, Cody. I watched one of your recent videos and saw that you've gotten the Indiana coaches back in the water. Forming your own little masters group is awesome. I love seeing it. My question is about what your group is training for. You mentioned setting a world record, and you also said you're competing in the short course yards format. Sorry to break it to you, but there is no such thing as yards world records. Could you clarify what you're preparing for? Will you be swimming at a Masters Nationals or a World Championships? I hope we get an answer to this, and please enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you." All right, thanks Philip for that question. And yeah, I have been training here and there with some of the Indiana coaches for fun. I've got them all on board with training for a relay, which has been a lot of fun. And I've actually got another vlog about that coming up later this week. It's getting really serious. We have our middle distance head coach of Indiana University, Corey Chitwood, who was an NCAA champion in the 200 backstroke. He swam at the University of Arizona. We have our sprint coach, John Long, who swam at the University of Auburn. And we have our volunteer assistant coach, Yusuf, our Egyptian breaststroker, who you've probably seen in the vlogs before. And then I am the butterflyer. Corey, the backstroker, Yusuf, the breaststroker, I am the butterflyer, and John, the freestyler. Now, I'm actually a pretty decent butterflyer. I actually swam butterfly on my college relays my junior year. So we are training for the 4x50 200 yard relay Masters world record. And I say world record, okay, because I'm not gonna go off on a whole tangent here. However, there is no established world records in the yards format in swimming. However, a US Open yards record is a world record. Okay, that's why I refer to it as that. Because the United States is the only country that swims the short course yards format. It's the only country in the world that has sanctioned short course yards meets. The US Open record is a standard that says this was the fastest time ever swam in the short course yards format on American soil. That's what US Open record means. Anyone who swims here in America on American soil can set a US Open record. And because the US Open record, how do I phrase this? The world record in yards is the US Open record because there are no other short course yards meets around the world. That's all there is to it. And I'm probably gonna do a whole video on that. So if you're setting a short course yards Masters record, it's technically a world record. I consider it a world record. And I could go into all the reasons why United States Swimming should just create their own category of world records for yards events, all the reasons why it would benefit the sport of swimming, all the reasons why I'm not even gonna go down that road, but that stuff, I'm very, very passionate about. I love it. But to circle back to your initial question, it's been a lot of fun for me to swim with the coaches, guys that, are still very fit. They're mid-30s now. They're just a little bit older than me. But a guy like Corey Chitwood and John Long, our coaches, they're 10 years plus past when they themselves actually competed as swimmers. And so to swim with them and to see the fire rekindled in them, to have a purpose to like get to the pool and swim themselves and not just, be the guy on deck pushing people through with their stopwatches, it's a lot of fun. It's been very, very joyful for me to be a part of that experience. And I think we've got a good shot at some of these master records. At least we're looking at meets, we're looking at things to swim in, we're looking at things to compete at. Not gonna say anything as of yet, but it has been a lot of fun. But the biggest takeaway is there should be yards world records. Like Caleb Dressel's 17.6 50-yard freestyle NCAA American US Open record is the world record. It's the fastest 50-yard freestyle ever swam. It's clearly recorded by all of the proper rules and regulations. Therefore, it's a world record. It would, not gonna get into it, it would be so much cooler if they just recorded them as world records. They should. I'll make that a whole topic and go into that on another show. But yes, thank you, Philip, for that question. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. And now let's move on to topic number 2. And topic number 2 today comes to us from Gan from Mongolia. And Gan writes, "Hello, Cody. I just saw that Olympic champion Dmitry Baldın recently announced his retirement from swimming. What are your thoughts on this and his career? I love seeing that he's staying connected to the sport. It got me thinking, when will you finally retire? Please give us the details. Keep up the amazing swimming content. Cheers." All right, thank you, Gan. And yes, recently, Olympic gold medalist Dmitry Baldın announced his retirement. However, he is staying in the world of swimming. He's getting into coaching. A little bit of context. Dmitry is from Kazakhstan, and he's their first Olympic gold medalist swimmer. I believe he's their first Olympic medalist swimmer. And looking at Dmitry's career as a breaststroker, I'm really, really into this, but he's one of the greats. I mean, he swept the 50, 100, 200 breaststroke at the Asian Games in 2014. He won the gold medal in the 100 breaststroke at the World University Games in 2015. And then he went on to win the gold medal in the 200 breaststroke at the Rio Olympics. And I've got to say, that was one of the most exciting Olympic swimming races that I ever watched. I'm obviously a little biased because I am a breaststroker, but that field of 200 breaststrokers, I believe 1st through 7th place was separated by half a second. So we're 20 meters, 15 meters into the finish for the Olympic final, and no one knew who was gonna win. It was so close. And Dmitry won out of lane 8. It was really exciting. It was really cool. My Olympic teammate, Josh Pernot from the United States, won the silver medal, got second by just a few hundredths of a second. But that was one of the most exciting Olympic races to watch. So if you are a swim nerd like me or a breaststroker, look that race up and watch it. It was also cool seeing him win the World University Games. That's an event that I don't think is talked about enough. If you were to ask me, Cody, what's the most fun competition outside of the Olympic Games? What is it? I would easily say World University Games. Okay, World University Games is essentially the Olympics for college eligible athletes. Okay, it's far more fun than a World Championships. It's far more fun than any traditional FINA swimming competition because a World University Games is a games, which means that it's not just swimming, which means that you stay in a village with all of the athletes, just like the athlete village at the Olympics. It's a games experience, and therefore it is a lot more fun. You know, you go to a World Championships, and although that is the second highest level meet you can compete at as an athlete, the experience is not as fun because you go to a World Championships and teams stay in a hotel. You're very isolated and secluded. You travel to the pool, you do your thing at the pool, you travel back, And that's really it. There's not a lot of interacting with other athletes outside of when you're at the pool. And generally when you're at the pool, you're there for business. When you're at a games, you're there for a longer period of time, generally speaking. You're staying, as I said, in a village or in a campus or at a site where all of the athletes are staying. There is an athlete dining hall. It's just a way more fun experience. You know, some of my favorite experiences were when I was on the World University Games team, going to the common area and trading pins with other people from other parts of the world, other countries. One of my favorite things in my office here is that right there, which is my framed World University Games bronze medal. And around the medal are all of the pins from all of the different countries that I traded people with. It's really, here, let me take a little video of it and I'll throw it up in post. So once I edit this video together, you'll be able to see it, but I'm gonna record, because I don't wanna move the actual camera, but that right there. So all those pins, and there's like my little credential, that right there. So I'll throw that up in post so you can see it. But yeah, so Dmitry won the gold medal at that meet, won the gold medal in 200 breaststroke, and I implore all athletes to, you know, if you're a breaststroker or a nerd, go look that stuff up, because he really did have an amazing career. I raced him a number of times. I do believe later in Dmitry's career, he moved to the United States and trained for a little while. I think he was actually training in Southern California, but I raced him at a US Open meet. I've raced him a number of times. He's 27 years old now, and he's done everything he probably ever hoped, imagined, dreamed of doing in the sport, and it's time for him to retire. But I, like you, Gon, love that he's staying involved in the sport. That's really, really cool. And I certainly wish him the best, and I'm sure he'll be helping a lot of athletes where he's going to be coaching. So that's really exciting. And also, other athletes, if you're a young athlete watching this, put that on your list. Put that on your list of making a meet like the World University Games. Obviously, everyone says they want to go to the Olympics. There's a lot of other really fun, cool experiences that don't get the amount of press or discussion that they deserve, like events like that. Like I said, it's a small Olympics. So thank you, Gon, for that question. That was really cool. And now let's move on to topic number 3. And topic number 3 today comes to us from Louise from Colombia. And Louise writes, "Hello, Mr. Miller. I'm an ultra marathon runner who has competed in over 40 100-mile plus races." Wow, that's crazy. Wow. "I enjoy competition that pushes the boundaries of human capacity. Recently, I read that the 25K swim race will no longer be a world championship event. I am devastated. These kinds of events are what I live for. I can't imagine how Anna Marcella feels. What are your thoughts on this? Any insight on the situation with FINA? Bless you and your love of the swim world. Thanks." Okay, thank you, Louise, for that question. And yes, it was recently announced that at the next Swimming World Championships, which is the summer of 2023, the 25K open water race will not be an event that is on the lineup. However, FINA did not mention the overall fate of that race in the future. So what I'm saying is it could come back, although I believe it's probably unlikely, but it could come back. And here's the thing. The 25K race is like a 6-hour race. FINA and other big broadcasting networks that show these types of events know that the popularity for these things lies in the shorter races, right? The sprints, the 200s and below, even some of the 400. I mean, they struggle with, like, Olympic broadcast struggles with keeping audiences' engagement with the mile, even when Katie Ledecky's going for her 4th gold medal. So it's difficult from their perspective to justify an event like the 25K because it's expensive. It's expensive for them to put on these types of events. It's expensive for them to put on a regular swim meet. Imagine putting on an open water event where you've got all of these officials, all of these safety nets, all these people on boats out there for hours. You've got everything, all the production side that has to set it up. And then just imagine trying to package this in a way that the general audience can consume. It's difficult to make a race like that really engaging for a general audience. And they're basically saying that the reason that this will not be an event at the 2023 World Championships is due to a low number of athletes entered in the overall event. I mean, there's less than 40, 50 people, male and female, entered in the 25K at the last few World Championships. And it's gone down and down. So it's a very few number of people. And so they just don't want to foot the cost, and they don't see the benefit out of it, because at the end of the day, it does come down to dollars and cents and what events are giving them the viewership that they need to justify the expenses of putting on these types of races. And I'm with you, Louise. Like, I get really excited seeing, like, one of my favorite events to watch at the Olympics is the ultra marathon races. Like the marathon race, like they cut to commercial, they show you all these other highlights, then you go back and someone's still running, and now there's someone else still running. Like, I love that stuff as well. And yes, I certainly feel bad for some of the athletes. Like, if that's your event, if that's your thing, if your thing is ultra distance training and that is all of a sudden taken away and somehow delegitimized, that sucks, right? And that is sad, and that does bum me out. You asked about Ana Marcela. Ana Marcela is the Brazilian all-star ultra distance swimmer who has won this event like 4 or 5 times. I think she won this event like way back in 2011 and then has still been winning it. I don't feel too bad for her because there's still the 5K, there's still the 10K, the 2-hour open water race, and she's won a number of those gold medals as well. I feel bad for the athletes that's your event, like the 25K is your event. But like someone like an Anna, I mean, she does it all. She's won medals in multiple open water distances. So, that is what it is. But those are my overall thoughts on that. Will it come back? I doubt it. I really don't know. I guess time will tell. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments section below. Is that an event that they should bring back? The 25K? I've done a number of 10K races, and that's enough for me, but the 25K, whew, okay. Thank you, Louise, for that question. And now let's move on to topic number 4. And topic number 4 today, this is the big one. Topic number 4, comes to us today from Lily. And Lily writes, "Hi, Cody. We met last year in Naples for ISL. I was the assistant chaperone for Team DC after my Toronto Titans left. I've been following your show since then. I'm a huge swimming fan, and it's good to hear it's good to hear the opinion of someone who is involved in the sport as you. My question is related to the ISL. I still can't believe I had the chance to be a part of this last year, and I couldn't wait for the new season this year. However, I've heard ISL may not be returning in the near future. Can you shed some light on this? What are your thoughts on the problem with the ISL? Many, many thanks. I hope the best for the swim world. Best wishes." Okay. Thank you, Lily, for that question, and it was awesome meeting you as well. And yes, I, like you, was ultra excited for another season of the ISL. However, that's not going to happen anytime soon. A little bit of context, the ISL, the International Swimming League, has been self-funded for the last 3 seasons and really created by a billionaire businessman, Ukrainian-Russian, named Konstantin Grigorgovich, probably butchering his last name. As of this past season, most of the athletes have still not been paid out. I know some athletes that have been paid their solidarity payment, which was essentially the salary that you were promised just for attending the season. I know a number of athletes that have been paid that, but that's not very much money. That's like $7,000 or $8,000 just for attending the league. And here's the thing. I've had a number of conversations with people where they say, how could a billionaire not be able to pay for this stuff? Well, here's the thing. A single match costs well over $1 million to put on. From the production side, to paying everyone that is there that is working, to bringing the athletes there, to housing everyone, to doing all the TV, the streaming, everything. I mean, you see the value, like you see the $1 million in every match. If you've ever watched one or if you've been lucky enough to experience one, the value is there. You see it. And there's 20 plus of these matches per season, and there's all of these other expenses. So a single season of the ISL is 50, 60, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay? And even to someone who is a billionaire, that is a lot of money. And the thing with Konstantin is obviously the war in Ukraine put a screeching halt on any plans that were in the works for a season 4 of the ISL. However, Konstantin, as wealthy and as rich as he is, has had difficulty liquidating his assets. Yes, he has billionaire status, but lots of his money is tied up in things that are not easily liquidated, that he can't just easily sell off and get that money back. There was a rumor that I'm quite certain is true that to pay his debts for season 2 of the ISL, Konstantin sold off a large portion of his private art collection just to pay off what he owed for season 2, paying the athletes all their dues, paying the production side, everything. So now here we are, coming up on a year after season 3 of ISL has ended, and the athletes have not been paid. And I'm sure that there are other contractors that were hired by the ISL that have also not been paid. Just like I was looking, I wanted to know, like, let's get an idea of like what are the athletes owed that have not been paid. And I found an old article from SwimSwam that broke down the ISL season-long earnings by individuals before the final. So this is before the big match where there's lots of big bonuses. And you've got Sarah Sjöström, who's owed $120,000. Beda Nelson, who's owed $90,000. Ilya Shimanovic, the great breaststroker, $91,000. I mean, there's so many athletes. And you scroll down this list, there's well over 100 people that are all owed well over $15,000. Here I am at the 200th athlete, and they're still owed about $8,000. It's a lot of money to the athletes. And, like, come on, they're the most important part. So that's a bad look. It's a really bad look, and it doesn't bode well for the future knowing that you still haven't paid your previous debts. I have had one update in the last 2 months that has come directly from someone at the ISL, and I will read you what they sent. Okay, this is what they said. Quote, "The ISL is working as hard as possible to settle its obligations to everyone. We sincerely apologize for the delay and the lack of concrete timeline. We really do understand that this causes problems. However, the league and Konstantin remain committed to doing so. We are fully focused on restructuring the ISL and looking at raising external capital in order to move forward. We are confident in being able to do so, but until then, we cannot commit to dates of payments or to the dates of when season 4 will happen." I'll end the quote there. So essentially, this. We don't know. We don't know what's going on here. Like we don't know. And obviously it's a sad thing that there's a war happening over in Ukraine. However, they're saying they're looking at raising external capital to bring on season 4. So there's a couple, I've talked to people within the league in the last few months, and they said one big thing that they're looking at is bringing on a big title sponsor to foot a lot of the bill. Now, this could not be someone like a Speedo or a Tier or an Arena. Those companies, quite frankly, they don't have the capital to do something like that. They're not large enough companies. It would need to be a massive title sponsor that sees the value in what the ISL has shown that would, want to stamp their logo and their branding on it and be a part of it. That is very unlikely. Option number 2, there's another person or organization that sees the value in this and they buy into it, or they purchase what Konstantin has created. Maybe likely, maybe unlikely, probably very unlikely. Option number 3, Konstantin finds a way to actually fund this thing. It ain't looking good. So those are really the options on the table that could resuscitate where the ISL is currently at. Will we ever get paid? I don't know. Will we ever, I have talked to a number of these athletes that are in the top 30 of earnings in the ISL, whether or not they're gonna get paid. I honestly don't know. And could that bring on lawsuits? I don't know. That's an excellent question, but it is going to be interesting to see. I really hope, as I know a lot of you do, that this does come back, that they're able to work something out, that they're able to bring this back, because it's so good for the longevity of athletes. It's so good for the sport. It's really fun, and there's just all of the reasons that we've talked about before, but I'm hoping. But that is your update with ISL. It's a big meh. I don't know. Like, where's our money? Meh. What's going on? I don't know. We'll find out. Meh. Okay, so thank you, Lily, for that question. Maybe we'll get to see each other at another ISL someday. Maybe. All right, and with that out of the way, let's move on to topic number 5. And topic number 5 comes to us today from Hugo from Bamberg, Germany. And Hugo writes, Guten Tag, Cody. My 2 favorite swimmers in the world are Sarah Sjöström and you, Cody. Thank you, appreciate it. I love the new show. Giving us weekly swimming insights is the best new addition to the swim world, so thank you. Sarah Sjöström recently said in an interview that she plans to compete at the 2028 Olympics. That's crazy. She will be 35 during the LA Olympics. I think 35 would be, the LA Olympics. Do you think this is a smart decision for Sarah? Should Sarah go out on a high note instead of dragging it out? I obviously hope she keeps winning medals, but 6 years from now, kind of unlikely. Looking forward to next week's show. Thanks. All right. Thank you so much for that submission. And yes, one of my favorite swimmers to watch and people, I love her, is Sarah Sjöström. I say her name like 3 different ways. I butcher it all the time. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. But yes, she was recently interviewed by Swimming World magazine, and she said this in regards to the longevity of her career. Quote, "It's very unlikely I'm not doing it," Sjöström said of LA, the 2028 Olympics. Paris will be my first one, and I try as always to take it 1 year at a time. That is the main thing. Maybe I'll find out in 2 years and I'm like, no, I think I'm done. But I don't think so. I think I'm going to continue for much longer. End quote. So I had all these people emailing me about Sarah saying that she's definitely going to compete through the 2028 Olympics. But you gotta look at the whole quote. You gotta look at everything that she actually said. She said she would like to compete at the 2028 Olympics, and I hope she does, and I hope she does well. But she also said, well, I wanna take it 1 year at a time, because that's the smart thing to do. That's what smart athletes do, is they take things 1 year at a time. So the question is, will she continue to compete at the level that she has been at? Let's put some context to this. First of all, Sarah is one of the GOATs. She's one of the greatest of all time. She has 19 World Championship medals, more than any other female in history. She's 1 medal short of Michael Phelps's all-time record of 20 World Championship medals. So she's almost the most decorated. She won her first World Championship medal in 2009, and then like 13 years later, in 2022, she won 2 more gold medals, which is like crazy. She is still the world record holder in the 50 and 100 long course freestyle. She's still the world record in the 50 and 100 butterfly, although those records have just almost been broken, but still. So she is just one of the greatest. There's no. And my favorite thing, watching the Tokyo Olympics, Sarah won a silver medal in the 50 freestyle after breaking her elbow just a few months before. That was one of the coolest things ever. Like, as a fan, I was so jacked to see that. I was so excited. I was like, this is what sports are about. So can she continue to win medals later, much later into her career, at the next Olympics and then even further beyond? Well, we've seen it done before. We've seen people like Anthony Irvin of the United States win a gold medal in the 50 freestyle at the 2000 Olympics. Okay, he actually tied for gold, but he won a gold medal at the 2000 Olympics in an individual race. And then 16 years later, at the Rio Olympics, he won gold again in the 50 freestyle. That's one of the coolest things in sports, like that kind of story. Which, side note, this is why we need 50s of stroke in the Olympics, for stories and possibilities just like that. It's much harder for athletes to have the longevity and the relevance in those longer races, even in a 100-meter distance. Like, it's difficult. It's difficult, but the 50s people can do it. We need to have it. But I digress. Back to Sarah. Sarah absolutely has the capability of maintaining that relevance in the 100-meter distances and certainly in the 50, moving later into her career. And I cannot wait to watch, because there are a lot of strong female competition right now, up and coming. And how long can Sarah hang in there and still crush? It's one of my favorite things to watch. But what do you all think? Like, what's it gonna look like at the Paris Olympics? What's it gonna look like a few years later? And hey, like she said in her quote, maybe in 2 years after the next Olympics, she just feels, the passion's not there. I want to move on with my life, and that's fine, right? It's not our job to tell anyone or to say when someone should hang it up. And we as sports fans do that. We say, this guy's past his prime, his arm is gone, he needs to hang it up. Like, okay, you can think that, but at the end of the day, everyone is on their own individual journey, doing things for their own reasons, and it's their decision. Like, as you said in your email, should she drag it out? I'm dragging it out. Lots of people drag it out. That's a matter of perspective, and you shouldn't impose those thoughts on other people, in my opinion, right? It's just like, if someone still loves doing what they're doing and they're still doing it at a high level, more power to you. Like, I celebrate that. I love that. You know what I mean? So I hope Sarah continues to dominate. I hope she keeps going, and it's going to be fun to watch. And obviously she, like I said, is one of the greatest of all time. But like, she's so much more than just all those world championship medals. I mean, look at how good she's been at the short course format. Look at how good she was at the ISL seasons. Look at some of those World Cup performances. Like, just as like a swim nerd who follows all those little things, there's very few people who have ever been able to do some of the things she has done, which is so exciting. Oh, so exciting. Okay. Thank you so much for that question, Hugo. And now, let's move on to topic number 6, our final main topic of the day. And our final main topic of the day comes to us from Charlotte from New Haven. And Charlotte writes, "Hello, Cody. I just watched your new house tour video, and I've got to say, I got choked up towards the end. Watching you thank your YouTube audience for supporting you for years made me emotional. To me, that really illustrates why you have cultivated such a strong following in and outside the swim world." I'm gonna take a moment. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. I appreciate it. You're thankful, genuine, and super fun to watch. My question is about the house. How has your life changed since moving? Moving from such a small house to such a massive one must be a shock and certainly comes with new challenges. Is there anything new to you that you didn't expect? How is your home life? Have a great day. Swim Master Cody. All right. Thank you, Charlotte, for that question. And yes, welcome to the new house, everyone. This is my office. It's been really nice. There have been some challenges. This house is bigger than anything I ever lived in. Bigger than anything I ever grew up in, and much bigger and just nicer than anything I ever really imagined. If you go back years and years, I never would have envisioned something like this. So I feel extraordinarily fortunate to be able to afford something like this, to have come from where I've come. And with the 2 boys now, Axel's much bigger now, and he is running around full speed, and having the space is really nice. And having the separation, right? Like, we've got this big living room right in front of me here. We've got the main level, and then we've got, having the different levels is really nice. Being on the lake when it's been warm, being able to just in 2 minutes go out, be on the boat, like, that's been wonderful. However, there are a lot of new challenges with the house as well. There's a lot more to take care of. We are right up against the lake, and we've got all these beautiful trees that surround the house that I love. Like, I love waking up in the morning and looking out the window, and I just see these massive green trees. I feel like I'm living on like the moon of Endor, and I'm in like my own little wilderness retreat. It's so peaceful. However, now that fall has come and the weather's changing, it's getting a little colder here, all the leaves are coming down. So like, I'm not kidding you, like almost every single day, I have to walk out on my deck and use a leaf blower and blow off all of the leaves. All the time. There's so many leaves. So there's little things like that I never really thought that, okay, this is gonna be a part of something like that I have to do. You know what I mean? It's those little things. Currently, we're building our endless pool again. So in the garage, the third oversized slot on the end of the garage, my endless pool is being built. I've been working with my installer, Rick. I'm actually gonna go work on it after this video. and hopefully finish it up. So I'll be able to swim here and do some swim lessons here, which will be lots of fun. If you're ever interested in a private lesson with me, I do some of them, so send me an email. But I might be running some out of my endless pool, which could be super, super fun. I'm gonna set it up with a bunch of cameras and stuff. But yeah, as far as like how my life has changed since moving here, I mean, we're certainly further away from the pool that I train at in Bloomington. You know, at the old house, I used to get up in the morning and I could be from my house to the pool in about 12 minutes early in the morning. And now it takes me about 30. So my commute has, you know, I'm further out. My commute is a little bit longer, just longer trips to the grocery store, because we're further outside of the city, right? We're further outside. So it's a little more rural out here. It's radically different than how I grew up. You know, I grew up in the city of Las Vegas, where everyone is like really tightly compacted together. There's a lot of high density population, and there's all kinds of stuff really, really close. Like my mom lives just below the Red Rock Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So the Red Rock Resort and Casino is just in front of the Red Rock Mountains of Las Vegas. My mom lives right there, she lives minutes, I mean minutes walking distance, half a mile from where the Las Vegas Golden Knights arena is, the professional hockey team that was, you know, all that was just built within the last few years. So there's all these restaurants, there's a massive shopping mall, there's casinos, and you know, my mom lives right there, you know, and that's the area that I grew up, which is radically different from this. Right here, there's nature. Here there's, like I said, all these big trees, we've got land, and obviously the lake, and outside of this community, there's not a whole lot out here. So it's very, very different. But I enjoy it. I find it very peaceful. I find it very calm. You know, the neighbors know each other here. It's very different. But you know, my commute has certainly changed. So I swim most mornings. I just get up a little bit earlier, you know. And yeah, it's been good, but there have been a lot of challenges, like obviously keeping a house like this clean, obviously building the things that I need to build, but it's been cool. So that's my little update about what's going on here. Thank you, Charlotte, for that question. Hope that was like not super, super boring. And that wraps it up, guys. That's it. That's it for this episode of the show. I hope that you have a fantastic week. I hope everyone is working hard, swimming hard, doing whatever it is you're doing to the best of your ability. Keep on at it. Once again, if you want to get your question answered on the show, it's really easy. Just send an email to codymillershow@gmail.com, and you might see your question answered here as a main topic. I want to thank all of you for all of the emails you have been sending, all of you that have been sending nice messages about the videos and the vlogs and everything. I really appreciate it. It's great. And yeah, have a fabulous week. We do have merch on the merch store. Oh, I have something else to announce. I have been working on building a platform to provide a way for me to do live digital interactive events like Zoom style stuff, where a small number of people enter into a Zoom chat room where we can hang out and talk about whatever you want to talk about, ask me questions, those kinds of things. I'm working on something where people can submit me videos of them swimming, and then I will critique and make a video for you about that kind of stuff. That stuff is coming. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out for that. I can't announce like the name of the website or anything yet, but we're working on that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool stuff. So that's cool. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. But anyway, that wraps it up. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fabulous week. And until my next video, I will see you all later.